Hey guys, what's up? So today I will be bringing you my top 15 favorite Avenged Sevenfold songs of 2022. So feel free to leave your top 15 down in the comments below, and let's get started with the list. Number 1 is Scream from the self-titled album. Number 2 is Critical Acclaim, which was one of my first Avenged Sevenfold songs from the self-titled album, and it's still one of my favorite Avenged Sevenfold songs of all time to this day. Number 3 is Afterlife from the self-titled. Now, between the original version of Afterlife and the alternate version that was featured on Diamonds in the Rough, personally, I can't tell the difference between the two. They sound the same to me, but if you know the difference between the two, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Number 4 is Dear God from the self-titled album. This is the closing track to the standard edition, and I would say it's one of Avenged Sevenfold's best closing tracks. Number 5 is A Little Piece of Heaven from the self-titled album. Number 6 is Hail to the King from the album Hail to the King. This was another one of my first Avenged Sevenfold songs, and ever since I heard this song and heard the riff to Hail to the King, which is still one of my favorite riffs of all time, or is one of my favorite riffs of all time, it's always remained a song within my top 15. I would even go as far as to say I would put it in my top 5 if I were to do this list over again. But for this list and for today's video, it falls at number 6. And do keep in mind that with any of my top 15 lists that I do when it comes to a lot of my favorite bands and artists in music, any of these can change at any time, so yeah. Number 7 is Doing Time from Hail to the King. This song is really underrated, man. I don't really see this song on anyone's lists whenever they do a top songs list for Avenged Sevenfold, and I think Doing Time is a great song. I think it's one of the best songs on Hail to the King, and it gets overlooked by the title track and Shepherd of Fire and a few other songs on the album as well. Alright, number 8 is This Means War from Hail to the King. Now, I know that a lot of people may not like this song because it sounds like a Sad But True Metallica cover, at least when it comes to the riffs, and I do hear that. I do hear the Sad But True melodies within the guitar riffs. I'm sure they did it by accident. I don't think they intentionally meant to rip off one of Metallica's most popular songs, but yeah, I mean, either way, even if the song sounds like Sad But True, I still think it's a good song, and it's still one of my favorites from Avenged Sevenfold, so yeah. Number 9 is Nightmare from the album Nightmare. I mean, what is there to say about the song Nightmare? My favorite part in the entire song is when M. Shadows screams, this is your fucking nightmare, and at least I think that's how it goes. I'll have to go back and listen to the song again because it's been a little while, but yeah, that's my favorite part in the whole song when it comes to the lyrics and everything. And the song overall is just amazing from beginning to end, and Now, I would say, compared to a lot of the other songs on Nightmare, I would say the title track is pretty overrated by fans, but even if it's overrated, it's still a good song. All right, where are we? Number 10 is Welcome to the Family from the album Nightmare. This was another one of the hits off the album. I would say it's probably just as popular as the track Nightmare. You guys can debate that in the comments if you want to, but another one of my favorites from that album, and still a song from Nightmare that I do come back to whenever I do listen to that album. And a side note when it comes to Nightmare, I think the song Danger Line is very underrated and doesn't really get the love and credit it deserves. So, yeah, figured I'd just, point that out. Number 11 is Bat Country from City of Evil. I don't really return to a whole lot from Bat Country, from City of Evil. I do like the song Missing in Action. I think that's a good closing track from Avenged Sevenfold, but I guess I'll have to go back and listen to City of Evil and see if it's grown on me at all, but I do know that when I first got into Avenged Sevenfold and heard City of Evil for the first time, Bat Country and MIA were my two favorite songs from the album, so yeah. Number 12 is Walk, which is a Pantera cover. This is featured on Diamonds in the Rough, which is their B-Sides and Rarities collection. That was released in 2008 and then later re-released for digital platforms such as Pandora and Spotify in 2020. And Walk has always been one of my favorite songs from Avenged Sevenfold as far as covers go. I think they did this cover really, really well. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I still like the original from Pantera, but there are times where I do prefer covers over the originals. In this case, I prefer the cover over the original. I know Pantera fans are going to rip me apart in the comments for that, but I'm okay with that. Number 13 is Girl I Know from Diamonds in the Rough. This song is so good. Now, what I've later learned as of recently, a lot of the songs on Diamond in the Rough are leftover songs and B-sides from the self-titled album. And if that's the case, I think Girl I Know would have been a great addition to the self-titled album. I think it would have made the album a lot better, and it's one of my favorite non-album tracks from the self-titled album. Number 14 is Almost Easy from the self-titled album. Now, same with the song Afterlife. I don't really hear too much of a difference, other than the mixing, of course, because the version on Diamonds in the Rough is a different mix than the mix on the original. So, actually, I take that back. I do hear a difference as far as the mix goes, but I think for me, I like the version of Almost Easy on Diamonds in the Rough more, at least these days, compared to the original version that appeared on the self-titled album back in 2007. Alright, and now last but not least, number 15 is Shepherd of Fire from Hail to the King. This is the opening track to the album, and it's a pretty good opener for Avenged Sevenfold. I think it's one of their best openers, but I enjoy the song. And these days, when it comes to the album Hail to the King, I tend to listen to the second half of the album more than I do the first half, because I've heard the first half so many times. But yeah. So with all that being said, that's my top 15 favorite Avenged Sevenfold songs of 2022. And once again, let me know your top 15 down in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time. Rock on.